There you go. Oh, good evening, everybody. Welcome, Charlie and Marlene. Thank you so much for being here. Yay, good evening. Happy Moon Day. Welcome to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace, our most enthusiastic Monday conversation here on Fireside, where we get to discuss where the moon is every day this week and what could that mean for you, and also a little bit of astrology here and there as I like to gather from Jessica Liniato's Ghost of a Podcast and the Chiani app and her own Astrology of the Week podcast. You can find both of them everywhere where your podcasts are available. And if you are actually listening to Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace on the Spotify app, I'm so grateful for you for tuning in to the replay, which is usually available the day after we meet. Now, if you would like to join us live, like Charlie is here with us and Merlane here on Fireside, then please go to the App Store, download Fireside Chat, or check the link in the description and the link in my bio and join us for so that you can be a part of this conversation live and join us on stage. It's wonderful when people join me on the stage to discuss and to have an exchange. So let's begin, everybody. Oh my goodness. Last Monday, I remember discussing that last week was going to kind of be a slower type of energy in preparation for the events happening this week. We have a total solar eclipse happening, and just like 2 hours later, we have that new moon happening. And the thing is that depending on where you tune in to get your astrology scoop, um, or depending on where you are in the world, actually, which I find this fascinating. Um, then these events happen in different signs and at different times. So for us in the East Coast, and for all of those people that are ahead in the clock, right? Like some of our members of the audience who live in Australia or in England, right? For those of us in the East Coast, the new moon happens in Taurus. And for those of you in the West Coast, the new moon happens in Aries. So if you're following um, Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace 2023 Manifestation Agenda slash journal available on Amazon, then everything on the book relates to the new moon in Taurus. And it's going to be a fantastic week if you make it so, I feel like. Um, Emotional intelligence will definitely be the biggest tool available, and also a lot of acceptance and just awareness in general. So let's dive in. Uh, we begin, the moon is waning, right? Waning is when it's getting darker and darker. Hello, Cecilia. Thank you for being here. And so we're getting ready for that moment of really pondering the future. So the new moon, we know, is all about planting the seeds of intention. It's really about manifestation. We've You may hear about the new moon being about manifesting, just as the full moon is about releasing and letting go and banishing, if you will, um, cutting cords, making decisions, finalizing things. And the new moon is the beginning of the cycle, so it has all of the opportunity for growth. However, on a new moon like this week, happening just in the cusp of Aries, and with a lot of things happening as well, like Mercury going retrograde the very next day. It's more of a new moon to just take it easy and not really manifest or not really focus on big life-changing decisions. If there's one recurrent theme for Mercury retrogrades, and it happens like 4 times a year, so we're going to have this conversation over and over. Oh, Mercury's going retrograde, right? It's a common theme throughout Mercury retrogrades that you shouldn't enter into contracts. Okay. So, like right before I started the show, I was like, what about getting married? What if you get married during a retrograde? Could that have an impact? Because getting married is entering into a contract, right? And yeah, apparently you don't want to do those types of things when the moon, I'm sorry, when Mercury is retrograde, but that's not going to be until Friday. Let's go back to today. We have a waning crescent, and it says not to be afraid to lean into vulnerability. And the reason why this moon is inviting you to lean into vulnerability is because it's in Pisces. And we love a moon in Pisces. It's the perfect opportunity for you to tune in to that sensitivity and sensibility. Both have to do with senses. One has to do with the input that you receive, and the other one has to do with the intensity or um, the emotion behind it, on a scale, if you will, or on a spectrum. And so when the moon is in Pisces, it is the perfect opportunity to really be creative, to ponder those prayers that, here's the thing, you may have a prayer practice. It's almost like growing up, when you were a child and you were invited or made to pray daily before bed. And then when you became a teenager, you would go a few days without doing it, you would forget. And then the older you got, the less you did it, right? Well, don't have a recurrent prayer practice, if you're not someone who prays daily, you've heard me say this before. The moon in Pisces is a great opportunity to do that because it is known as the best moment for divination. Pisces is the most divination of the signs. It is very spiritual. It is known to be extremely intuitive, and so, if you want to connect to spirit, I guess the moon in Pisces is the perfect chance to do so. And being opening up to being vulnerable and to leaning into that vulnerability, sometimes I feel like propels us to reach out or ask a question or ponder that intuition, that connection, that relationship. So that's happening today and tomorrow with the moon in Pisces. And I journal a lot when the moon is in Pisces. I try to keep track of my previous moon in Pisces prayer or journaling. What did I write a month ago when the moon was in Pisces? Those are some of the things that I tend to do. What else? The same thing with the new moon, right? So the new moon this month happening in Aries, if you want to consider it that, is an invitation to check the new moon in March, because the new moon in March, which was Aries season, which we're still in, right, until the 20th of this month, that's when the sun goes into Taurus, and we're going to be in Taurus season, right? So right now we're in Aries, and it's the second new moon in Aries that's happening in 20 years, which is a big deal. And so it's not to be taken lightly. It only means that the energy could be, I don't know, more extravagant. What do you want to call it? Do you want to call it important just because it's over 2 decades, or do you not care? It's really how you see it. It's all in the eye of the beholder. But the fact that there's a second new moon in Aries can be an invitation for you to look back, right? This is what Jessica said. And oddly enough, this is the type of thing I do in my journaling a lot. I go back to previous moments that may have a similarity, like the previous moon in Pisces or the previous new moon. And then I check, where was I mentally, and what was I doing, in the land of the living, and what did I write about, or in the case of the moon in Pisces, what did I pray about? Sometimes I like to keep track of these things just because that's just me. I don't know how you keep track of your journaling or what you journal about, but Yeah. If you're following the book, there's also an invitation to have an affirmation, which this week's affirmation is: My life is as unique as my gifts and circumstances, and I trust myself through it all. And the reason why that affirmation says that I trust myself through it all is because this is one of those eventful weeks where you may be triggered. Activated was the word that Jessica Lanyadoo used in Ghost of a Podcast. And it's interesting because activation doesn't mean that you are necessarily energized, like active. Like I hear the word activate, or I hear the word activated, and I instantly think about, the Energizer Bunny, or when my toddler gets those bursts of energy and starts literally running from one side to the other. Dogs do that too, right? Like they get these fits and they just run from one side of the house to the other. I've seen that so many times, and then they're done, and it's like, now I'm just going to drink some water and rest and go back to life. And so this week, activation may mean a burst of creativity, however it is that you express your creative pursuits. So if it's with paint, like Curtis or Cecilia, or if it's a burst of physical energy and you want to go for a run, or you're going to run more than usual this week, you might want to keep track of what this activation looks like for you, just to keep track of it. We've talked about the value of doing that many times before. And the thing is that this activation has to do with the fact that Pluto is going to be squaring, meaning we've talked about squares too, how a square is competition, contradiction, opposition, the opposite of everything that's happening. Every time there's a square astrologically, it's kind of negative and rough and not necessarily good, supportive, and enticing, and loving, and guiding. And so Pluto squaring everything that's happening, the solar eclipse and the new moon. This is what brings up lots of questions about our identity, and about what we're struggling with, and about the things that we don't tell anyone about. And it's almost like that moon in Scorpio that we've talked about many a times, and how it can be very deep and dark and triggering. And that's going to happen Wednesday or Thursday, depending on where you are. And by then, the moon is in Aries. And this was interesting as well. Aries is very direct. Aries is action oriented. Aries is impulsive. Jupiter is playing a hand in all of this as well. And Jupiter magnifies everything. It is the biggest planet in our system. So it just magnifies absolutely everything, whether it's positive, which is great, abundance, luck, love, hope, anything positive, it'll magnify it. But if you're stuck in the negative, then Jupiter is also magnifying all of that. So how are you maneuvering those feelings of negativity, failure, fear, hopelessness, disease? How are you maneuvering those things that may activate you this week in a negative way? Or are you just going to crawl under a rock and sleep through it? I've been there. I've done that many times. And then it's like, whoa, what am I going to do now? Right. So it was very interesting, or almost funny, to hear Chani in her Astrology of the Week podcast say not to take any action this week. Okay, so what am I supposed to do, right? Not go to work, not make dinner, not take care of my child. But what she means is not to make any major life decisions when the moon is in Aries, and that would be Tuesday and Wednesday of this week. So tomorrow and Wednesday, apparently not to commit to anything that could be potentially life changing. And it's almost like already dipping your toes into that Mercury retrograde happening on the 21st, which is Friday. By then, the moon has already been in Taurus. We've already done the new moon, and then it moves into Gemini. And when the moon is in Gemini, it's also very creative, and very in the feelings as well, because Gemini is an air sign. and very talkative and very communicative. So the moon in Gemini wants to express whatever it's feeling. Let's not forget we're talking about the moon, and so everything that the moon governs is our feelings, and how do you feel about this and how do you feel about that, and really that's what concerns this conversation, and how we maneuver all of that. So that's your moon cast for the week. You're welcome to come up and share anything that you have heard so far. Welcome, David. So glad that you're here. And now that this app has been updated, I have no idea how to invite you all to come and speak. Oh, I see. I see what we're doing here. So there you go. You're all invited to come up, and you may or you may not. But let's move on to the new moon, which last year during season 1 of Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace, oh, Curtis is on stage. Hello, Curtis. How are you?
I'm using my iPad for the first time on this. So
And Merlene is on stage as well. Welcome, Merlene. Am I saying that right?
I wanted to
Yeah.
like show the moon, but it's a little cloudy out here today, so I can't do that. I thought it'd
Yes.
be something interesting and it'd be cool, but can't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, don't worry. Are you driving?
Oh no, I have my car on because I'm charging on my phone.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I'm
I knew you
traveling.
were in your car.
Yeah. Oh geez, and everything's blowing up. All right, there's that. But you had mentioned this week about vulnerability.
Hmm.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I was
Yes.
thinking
What
about
comes up
that.
for you about that?
Vulnerability, maybe trying to like just help other people and not think about myself. I don't know.
Mm.
It
So
was
that would be selflessness.
okay. As long as I'm not on video, because I have a logo on and I don't want it to.
No, you're fine. So let's say hello to Marlene, shall we? Because
Yes,
they've never been here
I don't know.
before.
Yeah, this app. I had to update the app as well, and I'm like, I have no idea what to do here. So if you have to. Oh, wait. No, I see the microphone. Okay. Thank you.
Yes, of course. So, Marlene, how are you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi. Well, I'm very surprised to be here. I was actually clicking on the link for Tyler Henry, and then I ended up here.
Is he
So
live
I'll
right
leave.
now?
I'm sorry.
He live right now?
No, I was just trying out the app just to see what was going on, and yeah, so I got you. So thank you for having me. I'm just interested in knowing more about what you have to offer and what you have to say. So thank you.
Of course. Yes, thank you. And by all means, stick around and I'll continue explaining.
Okay, thank.
Of course, you're welcome. So, we've been doing this show since last year. Our first episode premiere was on Lionsgate, so for about August. And I have been doing moon journaling type stuff, let's just call it that, for many years since I was in my 20s, and now I'm almost 38. So it's been a long time. And so when I brought this to Fireside, it became a show about discussing where the moon is every day, which we just did, as you saw. And then for the new moon and the full moon, we discuss specific journaling promptings. I'm pointing to this painting right here because after we journal, we answer those questions, and we journal on the page. We paint over it, or we do stickers, whatever you want. We've seen a lot of amazing creativity come through. So this is one of them, and I have several all over the room. I have other journals. And so I created the journal so that we could all follow along together, and it's available on Amazon. And I was just about to get into the new moon, which, if you follow me on Instagram at songofmyself.ig, we'll be able to paint together live this Wednesday as it's happening. Well, on the East Coast, it'll be Thursday around midnight of Thursday morning. So we might do it Thursday afternoon. It really depends on my schedule. But either or, I will announce it. And we're going to discuss the questions right now. These are the new moon questions that in the book you get to journal right here, and then you paint over them. And so they're all correlated to where the moon is and what is happening astrologically. So all of this whole Mercury retrograde type stuff and how confusing it can be, and how it can affect our communications and the power struggles that surface through this eclipse because of Pluto. And all of those things are kind of intertwined with the journal promptings and the affirmations available in the book and the things that we discuss weekly. So that's pretty much a great summary of where we are right now. And we've been following along since last year and painting and doing all the things. So thank you again for being here and for asking. Let's go ahead and continue. Your journal promptings, you may get a pencil and or a pen and write these down, and let me know how they sit with you. It's been amazing to discuss how some of these questions really hit the spot with some of us every single time, and it's just so fascinating to see. So the first question is, what is keeping me from trying something new? And it is the spring. We just started that astrological calendar when we began with the Aries season in March, with the spring equinox. And so we've discussed lots of shifts, lots of beliefs being questioned, shifts in energy, relationships. A few of us just took a break for the first time ever, and I consider that a shift. If you are changing your mind about some things or changing your mind about some people, that's a shift. If you used to feel a certain way about your social media and now you feel a different way about your social media, that's a shift. If you were feeling a certain way about your job and now you're kind of feeling a little bit different about your job, that's a shift. I feel like we tend to hear these words and we don't really kind of see how that they nuance for ourselves. And so a shift can be anything. Honestly, I felt like a big shift earlier when I looked at my toddler and realized how much taller he is than just a week ago. And he's not even 4. He's taller than most. And so all of a sudden I was like, "Oh my goodness. My child is growing." And you tend to change the way you look at things, right? And then the things you look at change. And so that's a shift. If there was a habit that you had broken and now you're back into it, that's a shift. If you had a habit and now you're ready to break that habit, that's a shift. So there's just so much that can come up when these things take place. And the thing is that the moon, every time we discuss the new moon, it opens up a month. And every time we discuss a full moon, it opens up a month. That's the whole lunar cycle. It's a month, right? The eclipse cycle tends to spread out 6 to 8 months. So we don't necessarily should expect these power dynamics, power struggles, or strikes, or identity crises, or triggers, or negativity, or activations to happen in just one week. They may come up later on in the next window of 6 to 8 months. So I find this very interesting. And we never get into the deep dive of the astrology, or we would be here all day. But another thing that I find very fascinating is that the new moon in Taurus may affect someone in a Virgo or a Capricorn or a Pisces and not affect the rest of the zodiac at all. And so astrology is a universe. in itself. And I think that that's so redundant and so cheesy, but it is just so true. Like, I don't know how else to, right? To narrow it down. So, what is keeping me from trying something new? And the question really has to do with these shifts and how sometimes we struggle with change. I'm a Taurus. Depending on where your Taurus placement is on your chart, you may struggle with change because struggling with change is very Taurus to do. Taurus is very slow. Think about, that heavy bull or a heavy cow walking on the earth, like nice and graceful. And change, it can't happen very quick for Taurus. We like to go slow and take our time and be very strategic about the changes that we implement. And at the same time, um, Aries energy and the sun eclipse, the solar eclipse happening in Aries on Wednesday, is going to kind of want to light a fire in us so we can move and move and move. And at the same time, literally the very next day or 2 days later, Mercury retrograde wants you to not move at all. So, how are we going to maneuver that this week? Are we going to be indecisive about things? Maybe ponder that later this week and let me know next week how that was, right? Question number 2. In the next months, right, because we're opening a window of a month, my intention is to learn about, name at least one thing and describe. As you all know, I am an ICF certified personal coach, and so I'm very interested in what is propelling you to take action and to move forward as opposed to getting stuck. So, throughout this book, there's questions regarding the actions that you're taking. What is the next thing that I would like to learn about? There's that action of future visioning, what's next for me, as opposed to I'm stuck in this moment, pondering all of the triggers, pondering all of the drama that Pluto is bringing up. I don't want to sit here and fester. I want to move that needle forward. And a lot of these questions are meant to propel that thought process along. This is why the art of journaling is just so priceless, to keep a journal and to get into the habit of taking what's above and bringing it below so that it's not weighing down this area, which should be really, concerned with divination and creativity and ideas and prosperity and blessings instead of drama. So bringing it down in journaling is just priceless. Okay, so in the next month, my intention is to learn about, name at least one thing, and describe. And the next question is, what is the energy that I want to cultivate this month? Is it hope? Is it confidence? Is it perseverance? Is it patience? Is it softness? Softness is one of the words that I was really drawn to at the beginning of the year when we discussed the word of the year. This is one of those questions that could be an opportunity to review what the word of the year was for you when the year started on January 1st. What was that word? Was it collaboration? Was it creativity? Was it projects? Was it right commitment? Was it soul work? What was it? And ponder the energy that you want to cultivate this month, and really always, right? A few of us in the room have a mutual friend, Joya, and one of the biggest insights that she got in 2021 was, what is the vibration that I want to embody? Low vibration, fear, doubt, hopelessness, depression, sadness, anger. That's low vibration, right? And high vibration, of course, love is the highest vibration. Hope, happiness, creativity, joy, those are high vibrations, right? And so that was one of the biggest insights that she received in 2021. And it's helped transform and cultivate an amazing life ever since, because it brought her awareness to where she wanted to be, what she wanted to do, and what she wanted to create, and who she wanted to strive to be, right? Every single day. And so, bringing your awareness to what you want to cultivate is also a great question to ponder this new moon without necessarily pondering really solidly, like we have in previous new moons, about the things that you want to manifest and bring to life, since we've been warned against doing that this week. We have an affirmation for the new moon, which is I am ready, willing, and able to embrace the steps that bring me to joy. So, what does joy look like to you? And how have you been cultivating that on purpose? We've talked about this many times as well. It is a must for highly sensitive empaths to really ponder, what does recharging energy look like for me, and how have I been doing it leading up to today, and how would I like to do it moving forward? What does playtime look for me? A lot of us like to say that work is play because I love what I do, and so it's not work at all, and I get to play every day. But that's not true, honestly. Um, Even if you love your work, it will, if it is a task that requires, a procedure and steps and a relationship with technology, which this week will be all messed up, and really Mercury retrogrades until May 14th. So watch out for all of the miscommunications, miss bookings, double bookings, cancellations, and just confusion throughout lines of communication, technology failures, Zoom glitches, Twitter glitches, etc. And so, what does play look like? What does joy mean for you? And what does it look like? And that is the affirmation. So, the invitation is for you to use the affirmation for this week throughout. My life is as unique as my gifts and circumstances. I trust myself through it all. And then the affirmation for the new moon, which is I am ready, willing, and able to embrace the steps that bring me joy. So, what are the steps? This is an invitation to ponder that style of journaling, which is kind of like a planning, maybe bullet journaling. Joy for me this week will be a day at the beach with my son. What are the steps that take me to that? Well, I need to prepare the snacks. I need to make sure that the umbrella works. I need to fill up the tank. I need to make sure that I have enough sunblock, right? Those are steps. I need to make sure that we get up at this time so that we can eat, so on and so forth. How do you break things down? That's what that invitation, that affirmation is inviting you to do. And that concludes our new moon for this month. Yay, everybody. And that's pretty much all we have to talk about today. My voice is actually giving out. Thank you so much for being here, Merlene, and everyone else. Let's go ahead and do our meditation. If you're new to this show or new to listening, um, we like to finish Moon Magic and Mindfulness with Grace with a meditation brought to you by Brain FM. You can check out the link in the description, or the link in the bio, or the link in the fortune cookie, depending on where you're listening, for a free trial of Brain FM and 20% off your membership with the code. When you click on the link, it's all there. So thank you everyone again for tuning in, and yeah, let's get comfortable. So if you're sitting down, both feet on the ground, if you're laying down, that would be even better. Big deep belly breaths are easily done and more successfully done if you're laying down, because when you're sitting up, your core is already engaged, so it's a little bit harder to fill your um, diaphragm or stomach or whatever fills up your lungs, right? I just feel like when we take a deep belly breath, like, why is it called deep belly, right? So when you fill in your belly, it's a little bit harder when you're sitting down or standing up, but it's okay. You can still do it. You can still achieve it. Let's go ahead and do this. So bring your and let's go ahead and Okay, can you hear me? I hope you can. We're having some technical issues here already. All right, so you can hear me. Thank you so much. So both feet on the ground and bring your awareness to your regular breath. Nice and slow. Nowhere to go. Nothing to do. Just be here now. And with me, we're going to take a deep breath in through your nose, nice and slow. Just breathe all the way, fill your lungs. Deep, 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 long breath. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out through your mouth. Long, slow, long breath out all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe in again through your nose. Deep breath in through your nose. All the way. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. And let it out through your mouth. Long breath out all the way. Hold it at the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. And breathe normal. And as you relax and settle into this moment, I want you to imagine that we are sitting on the sand by the waves on a dark, starry sky with just a sliver of a moon. And as we sit and ponder at all of the stars above and take in every wave that comes in and goes out, and we observe and we watch it pass. And it's almost like those triggers and those thoughts and fears and doubts, insecurities, and you watch it all come, and you watch it all go away. And you acknowledge and you learn and you move on. One by one, with me, we take a deep breath in through your nose. Nice deep breath all the way. Fill your lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let it out through your mouth. Long breath out all the way. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in again through your nose. All the way till you have no room. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out through your mouth. Long breath out all the way. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe normal. And as you settle your breath, bring your awareness to your hand. Place your hand on your heart and ponder or repeat these affirmations. I am so grateful for every opportunity I get to learn about myself. I am open, willing, and able to embrace the steps that bring me to joy. My life is as unique as my gifts and circumstances. I trust myself through it all. I embrace my creativity and the process of getting to manifest my best, most loving, hopeful, and abundantly blessed life. I am so loved, so guided, and protected. With me, take one last breath in through your nose all the way. Fill your lungs, fill those lungs. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe out through your mouth. Long breath out. Hold it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and breathe in one last time. Deep breath in through your nose. Hold it at the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, and let it out through your mouth. Long breath out. As you let it out, bring your awareness to your body. Slowly move your feet. Open your eyes. And come back to me. And that concludes our time together in our episode. And I'm so grateful for you. Don't forget, I will be on Instagram at songofmyself.ig Wednesday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Cecilia is up here. Hi, Cecilia.
Hi.
Hi.
You can hear me?
Camera? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'll come on camera. I don't know how to do it, but let's see.
Hang on. There you go.
I can come on camera too.
I wanted
It's
to break my moon
great.
magic and mindfulness cherry.
Yay! It's a
So
great
There you
day to
go.
pop your moon magic and mindfulness cherry. I'm so grateful that you're
that's
here.
right. Yeah, thank you.
Yes.
I was thinking that I think I'm being called to be really brave with
Mm.
circumstances, like getting this car, like being in a car or driving for me isn't a natural thing. Like, I'd rather use my legs. I'd rather get on a bicycle or run, you know? So having the courage to get in the car and, you know, I'm saying like, I'm going on this road trip, which I guess I'm going to do, you know? But, but yeah, like just being called to be brave. And like, anytime somebody says like, I can't remember last week, somebody said, who's going to be the brave one and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, that's going to be me, you know, and just keep answering that call. Coming here, that's a shift too, you know? So yeah,
Mhm.
brave
I
and
know.
creative too. Like I'm definitely back in
Mm,
the flow of like painting and releasing things, you know? So, and that I
mhm.
do that usually with painting. So yeah.
Right. And if I remember right, you took a break from painting, right?
Well, I usually do that. Like when I come back, it's usually like energetically shifting something, you know, and that's my release. So I usually take about 2, 3 months, and then something I'll just get that feeling like, oh, I want to paint again, you know. So it's like on and off,
Mhm.
but it's on right now. But I know it's like included in the shift of things, like energy, you know. So
Mhm.
and not in a
Yeah, I only
negative
asked
way, you know.
because I only asked because I would be so curious to see like what was happening the first, not the first time, but previous times that you decided to stop painting or to restart the painting, and what's happening the future times where you decide to stop or start again. So it's just very interesting how we get into these patterns and we don't even realize things
Right.
that we do that are it's great. We tend to really take pride and mention and highlight and seek validation for the patterns that we do that are obviously good, healthy, brilliant,
Hmm.
creative,
Yeah.
colorful,
And I
and
don't,
not so much. Go ahead.
right. Sorry. I don't know if you heard what, when I paint, I'm doing the Ho'oponopono prayer as I paint. So all the
Yeah.
dots that you see are me doing the prayer. And this time around when we were doing World Art Day and the one that I continued doing on the page, I'm Ho'oponoponoing fear. So, you know,
Mm.
me saying that I'm being called to be brave has been in the works, you know. And now I just realized too that I've been ho'oponoponoing fear. So, yes, it's a good shift.
Yeah,
That's
that's
it's hard to
amazing.
say.
Yeah, so I like that you just explained that because I've heard of course I know about the Honoponopono prayer, and
Ho'oponopono.
and I've heard about the painting along with it, but I didn't realize that you could choose. You see, this is the part of I don't know what I don't know. I didn't realize you could choose something like, I'm letting go of fear today, so this is what I'm going to focus on. I thought it was
Mhm.
more of this happened, so I'm going to meditate about that, right? Or
Yeah, you can do both, like fear in general, or think about scenarios. Like I'm thinking about something in particular, like the situation that I find myself in at the moment. Like my friend telling me I have 2 hours to leave this house and stuff. I was like, no, that like legally I have 30 days, you know, but just because he was in, you know, whatever mood. But so, you know, not freaking out about what am I going to do now, you know, and stuff like that. So thinking about that situation in particular and not panicking. So I am thinking about that, but to me, the general thing is fear, to just have that trust and faith and leave the fear out, you know?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, and you can just drive to St. Cloud.
And
Just
yeah,
drive over here.
I just want
Yeah.
to go on A1A and stop at every beach, you know? That's what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
exactly. Just
do.
make your way over here. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah, and exactly. I have plenty of options, and that's it. And remembering there are tons of options. You don't need to be stuck in one place or anything. And I was really staying there because it was comfortable, not because I was really happy or anything, you know. So
Right.
I'm glad that the universe brought that to me, you know, instead of like, oh
Mhm.
my gosh, this is happening to me, and now what the hell is going to happen, you know, and just being in the flow, embracing it all, and seeing the what adventure is next, you know.
Yay! I'm
That's
so
a
happy
better
and
place to
excited for
be.
you.
Yeah,
Hmm.
me too. Well,
CC,
thank
can I say
you.
one thing
No,
before you
ask me.
go?
Yeah.
No, I want to thank both of you for World Art Day. I mean, that was done in like such a small amount of time. And
Yeah, all we had to do is show up, right? That is the
yeah,
hard part though,
that's
right?
what we
Showing up.
Right.
right. Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun.
Let me see. Let me put the can accept this. Yes, I'm where I'm at, but
Are you in your car? Yes. Oh,
yeah, I
yeah,
am
you are.
because
I could tell. I could tell. It's fun.
I'm
Yeah,
like a
there's just
little
that.
freezy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's cold there.
Well, I'm cold. Maybe you
I'm
guys. Well, I mean,
like,
whoops, wrong way. Yeah, I was just trying to get some light in here and turn around the logo, make sure that the logo wasn't on because we're not sponsoring them. But for World Art Day, I mean, for you, yourself, Angelina, Elizabeth, Graciela, thank you for getting up. And I know you were so tired from the
No, it
no,
was
it
concert.
was
fine.
great.
It was, yeah, it was an eventful weekend, and I'm just grateful that I had my voice to do this and to show up for all of us. So it's going to be a great week. It's we've said this many times before as well, and that is when there's a week ahead that like the astrology is all dramatic and everything that I hear is like warnings. It's not so hard because we tend to talk with each other and walk through things together. So it's been wonderful to have this journey and this ongoing conversation, right? That this kind of theme allows for us. So thank you both for being here and for joining the
Well, I
club.
Thank
just wanted,
you.
I know you're tired, but, it is with me.
Well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much,
So what
Curtis,
happens on
for your
Friday?
support.
Friday, because, Saturday's my birthday.
I don't know what happens on Friday. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought there was like a point of the moon where it goes into a phase, and I don't know.
No,
The
well, I mean,
pre-birthday moon.
right, right. Well, Friday is when Mercury goes in retrograde. So your birthday is going to happen while Mercury is in retrograde. And so will mine.
Oh,
LOL.
yeah. All right.
So
Fair
be
enough.
careful what you wish for while Mercury is in retrograde. Let's just put it that way.
But you said something happens on Wednesday as well, and I have a lot of
Wednesday
things.
is the solar eclipse.
Oh, geez, I have a lot of things going on Wednesday. Oh well. Hey,
So
got to
You got to
keep
please
the
postpone the
love.
celebrate.
moon.
Gotta keep the love. I see it. Like I can't point to it, but it's right over there. It's right down there. So
Yes.
it's
Well,
beautiful.
thank you
See you guys
all.
later.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good
Yes.
night. I don't know how to turn this
You.
off, so
Oh, I'll do it. Thank you. Thank you,
okay, thanks.
Cecilia. That was so much fun. Oh my gosh, Cecilia, thank you for coming up on the stage. I love you so much for that. And Frankie J is here. You're still awake, Frankie? I'm so surprised, but welcome. Ron, we had a great meditation, so just tune into the replay. And again, if you're watching on YouTube or listening to the replay on Spotify, I'm so grateful for you. Thank you so much. And everyone, brace yourself. Here's another roller coaster of a week with the solar eclipse and the new moon and Mercury going retrograde on Friday. Tune into the replay to check all of it out or follow me on Instagram. I tend to put snippets out of this conversation and some insights in the captions. So at songofmyself.ig, and I will be there live on Wednesday at 2 p.m. or 3 p.m., depending on my toddler, Eastern Standard Time to do the live journaling and painting for the new moon. And I'll see you there. Bye, everybody.
It's no secret